Hey guys, welcome to a live ink sketch of Octobriana 1976. I am actually doing this as a rough for a possible hardcover special edition that we're thinking about doing. So this is the very first stages and maybe putting that together. And I will start in just a minute. I'll be right back. First, thanks everybody who has supported this book so far. Really great response. Part of the reason that I'm starting to think about doing a hardcover is because of the response has been so positive, and I have no doubt a lot of that has to do with all of you. So thank you very much for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, for anybody new to this Kickstarter, I am doing a blacklight comic book for my next project. It's live right now, and it is, the subject is Octobriana, which was a Russian underground superhero character in the 60s. And the concept is that American underground comics found this character in the 70s and in a show of solidarity made their own comic book. And so that's part of the blacklight process, or part of the blacklight is the idea that this comic is set in the 70s and kind of an underground-like comic book. Taylor, the latest Street Angel trade paperback, so it collects everything from, it collects all of the Street Angel comics that Image Comics published. The hardcover Image Comics Street Angels have a lot of extra stuff, probably a dozen pages per book, give or take a little bit. And they have, information on making of the books. They have end pages and things that are, designed for each book specifically. So like After School Special, the end pages look like a textbook. So there is definitely some extra material in the hardcovers that is not in the trade paperback. The trade paperback is kind of this lean, mean comic book collection only. I've been doing a bunch of these Octobriana drawings on backing boards that I'm probably going to do rewards or giveaways or something with at some point. And I realized now that the Kickstarter is live, I need to be doing these on camera for you guys. So hopefully you're all having your lunch break now and can kind of stop in and hang out for a little bit. Taylor, the Street Angel hardcovers from Image are oversized, and maybe once I wrap up this inking session, I will pull out a couple of those and hold them up next to like a regular comic book so you can see, get a better idea of what they're like. Paul, that artist has just crossed my path this week, his name, and I have not seen his art, but it showed up in some comments under the Octobriana video that we posted. So it's somebody I need to look up, but I wasn't familiar with that artist before I saw their name in the comments. Robert, the book is complete. I've been doing these drawings on backboards that I'm not positive what I'm going to do with them yet, but I will probably collect them either in the digital process zine that is going out with most of the rewards, or I'll collect it as its own collection of just drawings that'll be included in the rewards, possibly like a stretch goal or whatever. This particular drawing is a potential rough for a possible hardcover. I'm not positive we're going to do that, but it's been mentioned by a few people, and I have some ideas for a hardcover treatment, some other stuff that would go in there. So we're looking into that now, and I've been doing more and more of these drawings just as things that I can share on social media to keep driving interest to Octobriana and try to raise awareness of it. And I figured it would be a good idea to do it live, and people that are interested in watching, a rough get put together or whatever, you can see it here. Oh man, stretch goal ideas. I don't know. If you guys, I don't know if everybody probably didn't see, but this project launched a little bit prematurely, and so I have been scrambling to get things together for it, and I'm catching up slowly, but I didn't have a good plan for things like stretch goals in place, and so I need to figure those out. I am working on that right now, and I don't want to say too much about any, because if I don't end up doing them, I'll feel like a heel. But if you guys have recommendations for stretch goals, that is kind of where my mind's at right now. So feel free to add those to comments. If there's stuff that you've gotten from other Kickstarters that you liked or anything like that, this is still flexible. I mean, one of the nice things with Kickstarter is you sort of get to participate, and it's live, and I can make some adjustments. So if you have any good recommendations for stretch goals, let me know if there's stuff that you want to see or stuff that you've seen elsewhere that you think worked really well. The process zine is something I'm really looking forward to, because that's not all put together yet. That's something that I'm working on, and it's something I enjoy a lot. The difference between a print piece and that and doing like a digital e-zine is you can do whatever you want. You can have color, you can have different size pages. I really enjoy making zines, as many of you know, and the digital zines are sort of the ultimate flexible place to play around. And if you end up looking at screens a lot, which good or bad, a lot of us do, you can really make some nice looking zines, I think, specifically for the screen. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of the process zine. I don't have any print plans for it at this point, because I think it would be more expensive than I can really figure out how to make work. But I do expect the digital, to be a good, interesting digital zine. And I've done a few process zines in the past. I've done them both in print and digital only. And I don't know, man, it's a media that I've enjoyed playing with lately. And I always think when we do these shoot interviews, I always think like, man, I would love if pretty much everyone we talk to would get into making digital zines, the Steve Bissetts and the Rick Veitches and stuff, just sharing what they're looking at, what they draw inspiration from, the stuff that they're doing on the side that never sees print anywhere. I think it would be amazing. So that's part of what guides what I make, is thinking about what I'd like to see other people make, or what I wish was in the world. It's the reason this blacklight comic is existing, because I started doing prints with blacklight materials and was like, this would work. You could make a comic book with this kind of ink. Why doesn't somebody do this? So it's part of the reason I made Aphrodisiac the way I did, because I was looking for those kinds of comics and not finding very many. Rudak, you probably could have videos embedded in an e-zine. That's not something that I've tried to do yet, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things of working digital, is that you could include that kind of media. I'm sure of it. I don't have any of those planned yet, but now that you mention it, I mean, I have plenty of videos. You know, you guys, some of you may have caught the live stream a little while ago. I inked the cover on a live stream video before I announced what the project was for. So there are videos, you know, that go with this that I already have in terms of production and process. That might be a cool thing to keep in, or to put into that e-zine. This brush is a little bit small for just blocking in black ink, but such is life. I started out, I was just going to do this with markers, but I knew there was going to be a lot of ink applied, and I figured the brush would do it a little bit faster, a little bit better. Do I draw all of my panel layouts or print them out? I do both. Lately I've been doing rough layouts on an iPad and then printing those rough layouts out and light boxing them, so you know there is like a pencil version on paper that I work over top of. Although I have tried light boxing, inking on the light box, which I know artists that do that, and it's kind of neat. I'm not as comfortable doing that, so I do both. I draw straight to you know, pencil on paper, but I also draw digital and then transfer that to paper at some point. I'm a big believer that there's not one way, you know, one right way to do any of this stuff, so I tend to try a lot of different things. One of the great things talking to Rick Veitch is hearing him, and we've heard a few artists, you know, Dave Gibbons talked about it, obviously guys like Bill Sienkiewicz, who just, you know, you almost get inspired by trying new materials and different processes and techniques, and I'm with those guys 100%. I think Dan Clowes in some of his interviews talks about, switching up his writing process from book to book, sometimes having a very tight script and sometimes working from notes, and lots of ways to make comics for sure. And you can probably find examples of comics that are produced in all those different ways that you love, at least I can. So, no one way to do this for sure. Thanks, Skullhammer. And again, thanks everybody who has been supporting this thing and also sharing it. I see a lot of social media posts that share the Kickstarter, and that's huge. Like, that's a lot of my time right now is trying to figure out, like, how do you get this in front of people? So everybody that's been supporting the Kickstarter, sharing the Kickstarter, telling people that like weird comics about it, man, thank all of you. That's really huge, and it's the struggle, man. It's the struggle both as a fan and as a maker. There's so much stuff that I find after it's available, or, after it's not available, I should say. So many books that I find that look great, and it's like they're sold out, or, I'm late to the party. So thank you very much if you have shared this with somebody. If you guys know Aphrodisiac, it's funny, I did a sketch for that cover in my sketchbook, which is what the thumbnail for this video is a pic from the sketchbook, just a little, very, very fast, quick thumbnail sketch. For Aphrodisiac, that's what I ended up using for the cover. So I did a little sketch that was probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches. And I liked the sketch, that's what I decided to do. And then I started doing like full-size drawings, carefully inked, oversized and then reduced down for print. And none of them had the energy of that small one. And I ended up using a scan of that small little sketch for the real cover. So who knows? Maybe you guys are watching me actually draw the hardcover cover art. But we'll see. Right now, it's just my plan is just to use this as a test and see how I like it. And also, I'm not 100% sure that I'm gonna do a hardcover, but you never know. Sometimes the sketches turn out better than the more polished piece. Pretty happy with how this one looks. So I think that's it for right now, guys. Just a quick lunchtime break, a little quick sketch. Thank you all for joining me. And thank you all for, supporting this book. I mean, I've been overwhelmed by it so far, and in a lot of ways, we're just getting started. I think this thing is going to be really cool, and I think we've got a few more surprises in store for you in the coming weeks. So thank you all very much for your support. Please keep it up, and if you haven't yet, check out the Octobriana 1976 Kickstarter. It is live now. We also have an Octobriana and the Russian Underground video on Cartoonist Kayfabe that gives some background in where this character comes from and how I kind of got connected to her and cast under her spell, so to speak. So thank you all very much, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and stay safe out there. And also, read more comics.